So, what have we learnt about editing?
Well, since our preliminary task, we've mastered some of the more basic skills in editing, such as continuity editing. This involves cutting on action to create the illusion of continuous action. It also makes all the movements look more fluid, which is why we used it in the chase scenes. An example of this is on the bridge running scene, where we have deliberately shot from different angles and pieced them together and cut on action, so it looks like we've done it in one take.
Another thing we've learnt about editing is the cutting rate. In our preliminary task it was quite slow and it didn't build enough tension, but when we got to our final piece we increased it, especially in the running scene where we thought it was highly effective and built apprehension.
How did you incorporate new software in your opening?
Well, one of the things we majorly thought about our preliminary task was that it lacked any presence and dramatic build-up, one of which being there was no soundtrack. So what we wanted to do was create a very dramatic and to connote danger in a non-diegetic sound. So I used the program Cubase 4 to construct a soundtrack to overlap our scenes. Here you can hear some of the instruments that we used in our opening, one of which being a synth-based drone. Over this I put tom-toms with heavy reverb. So, what problems did you face in your opening, and how did you overcome them?
Well, one problem we had was with the lighting. We wanted a very specific light just as it was starting to get dark, which meant that we didn't have much time to get our shots in. One way we overcame this was by thoroughly storyboarding all of our shots first, so as not to waste time when we were shooting. And the second way we overcame this was by using the software on Premiere to change the lighting post-production.
There was also several problems we came across when dealing with the equipment. Although it was very good, we felt that sometimes the track was a bit unsteady when we tried to put it on quite difficult terrain. So we overcame this by trying to clear almost like a runway, if you like, of all the debris on the floor. Another problem was in the container scenes, there was quite cramped conditions. So we used several locations to construct this scene to make use of each space.
Another difficulty we overcame was with the weather. I think we all know what the weather's like. It can be unpredictable, it can rain. So we limited this risk by checking the weather forecast the day before.
How did you use your storyboard effectively in your opening?
Well, in the preliminary task we didn't have a storyboard, so we couldn't structure our shots. We didn't really have a guideline for what we were going to do, and we also had limited time for that. But when we got 6 weeks, we got some solid time. We had more time to be creative with our shots and innovative. We could plan when we were going to put them and where we were going to do it. We could also judge which locations can go where, which would create verisimilitude. Here you can see an example of where our planning wasn't very effective, and this is in the preliminary task where we shot the inside scenes at 3 different locations.
How did you incorporate the use of angle and tripod in your opening?
Whereas it was quite apparent that we only used simple camera shots in our preliminary task, so I think we progressed quite a lot and we started to experiment with the equipment. In our opening, on the other hand, we used stuff like canted angles or low or high angles. Here you can see in one of the alley scenes that we used the canted angle to create disorientation to the viewer.